Thank you for joining us today for this Leadership Talk webinar. My name is Leanne Tibbetts and I work with Manitoba Agriculture and Resource Development. Today we will be discussing board engagement. What is Leadership Talk? Manitoba Agriculture and Resource Development industry leadership staff are providing free webinars to support agriculture organizations to build their leadership capacity. Our disclaimer: this content is designed for informational purposes and is not intended to be a substitute for professional advice. Organizations should always consult their professional advisors related to specific situations. Today, we're going to explore factors that foster or impede board member engagement. We will talk about the critical factors related to engagement and how that can influence your organization's productivity and sustainability. We will talk about indicators of disengaged boards and the social science behind engagement strategies. We will make reference to a number of tools and processes that you may consider adopting within your organization. Engagement can add significant value to your organization. Defining board member engagement isn't always easy, but as we break it down, it begins to make sense. A board member is a member of a governing board. Engagement is the emotional connection an individual feels towards his or her organization, which tends to influence his or her behaviors and level of effort in related activities. Another definition calls engagement a state of being in gear, and we can all recognize that you can only make progress within your organization if you are effectively in gear. So when we put it all together, what does board engagement mean? Well, it's really the level of involvement or commitment a board member has within his or her organization. People, of course, are your most important asset within the organization. So people need to be engaged to ensure you can retain or keep them working for and within the organization as board members, volunteers, and staff. Why is board engagement so important? Well, without board engagement, it's difficult to survive as an organization. Therefore, engagement can influence the organization's long-term success and their ability to meet organizational goals. Individuals feel inspired, happy, valued, and more confident when they're engaged. This creates positive organizational culture. Engagement also increases the number of connections people make with others in the organization to support the development of positive relationships within the organization. For years, we've heard statistics on employee engagement levels and the impact engaged workers have on a corporation's bottom line. And just like employee engagement, organizations must strive to improve or assess their board or volunteer engagement for many of the same reasons. The real economic cost of replacing volunteers who leave an organization is significant. You can search for cost of turnover calculators online to help you break down the cost of losing employees or volunteers. The Handbook on Research on Nonprofit Economics and Management from Seaman and Young indicated that it would cost the sector an average of $35 Canadian in lieu of 1 hour of volunteer time. The economic impact of volunteer calculator uses a rate of $23 per hour for volunteer labor. So what does volunteer turnover really cost an organization? Well, it is the time invested in recruiting new board members. It is the orientation costs, including the time again, and the cost of materials to orientate and train a new board member, as well as the cost to meet and discuss and really orientate a new member to your organization. And finally, team building, as you strive to integrate a new board member into your organization. The value of retaining people is high. Your employees, your board members, and your volunteers are so important. Disengaged boards sometimes have an unclear mission, where directors, staff, and volunteers lack direction and maybe are working towards different goals. Often, in disengaged boards, we will see poor leadership. People become disengaged when the chair or executive team lack leadership skills. Poor communication internally is also a factor. If there's poor communication prior to a meeting, at the meetings, or following the meeting, maybe minutes are late or don't arrive, there's little follow-up work done between the meetings by committee members or individuals, and as a result, very little gets accomplished. Another factor of disengaged boards is that there's underutilized talent. Remember, directors, staff, and volunteers come with knowledge, skills, and experience that could advance the mission of the organization. But in disengaged boards, no one takes the time to capitalize on that talent. Often there's limited teamwork. People are working in silos, and there can be excessive conflict or negativity related to new or different ideas instead of collaborative planning, innovation, and effective decision making. Disengaged boards often also experience reduced attendance, decrease in commitment, and participation. At board meetings or events, it can be challenging to deal with individuals that are disengaged. If people are not showing up or they are not participating in discussions, the chair must determine why and ask questions to get to know the board and determine what needs to change to re-engage those board members and increase participation. As board members become disengaged, unfortunately, their passion, dedication, and commitment decreases, and it's imperative we determine what is the cause of the board member disengagement. We all want to feel valued and needed. Think about a personal experience where you have felt disengaged in an organization or disengaged from work. Can you relate to any of these feelings? Have you been irritated or angry, anxious, vulnerable, or fearful, manipulated maybe, because sometimes you feel like decisions have already been made before the meeting, disappointed in the outcome of involvement within an organization, uninformed, disrespected? We have to remember organizations are trying to function in a time when dual learner families have prioritized family outings and experiences, children's extracurricular activities, or retirement and relaxation. As a result, individuals who have executive positions, or if they've become a director within a non-profit organization, they must feel they are making a good use of their time to stay engaged within the organization. How do you measure engagement? Well, evaluating levels of engagement is important. Do you know how engaged your people are? Ask questions or poll your members. Too often we forget to ask for input from membership. Your questions might include, how can we improve our meetings? What makes you feel valued or engaged? Do you feel you are contributing to the organization? What is one thing we need to improve to re-engage you or increase engagement levels? Another strategy is to observe participation. Do they respond to emails? Does your membership attend meetings? Do they complete tasks and follow up on actions? Another strategy is to increase engagement levels is to have them complete a self-assessment. This can be a written questionnaire. We have a number of self-assessments on our website, and you can send us an email if you'd like a copy. Our staff are also available to complete an organization assessment with your directors or your staff if you're working within an agriculture organization here in Manitoba. We gather data and generate a findings report that outlines how individuals within your organization perceive the organization is functioning. Please let us know if you'd like additional information on this material as well. Another way to evaluate levels of engagement within your organization may be to complete exit interviews with your board members. Ask them questions when they're leaving. You can learn a great deal from a director that has been serving on your board. The bottom line is that you need to translate your engagement survey results and information into strategies that can increase performance, increase engagement, and drive up satisfaction. Engagement strategies. It's imperative that organizations focus on keeping members engaged. Even if your organization has a full complement of strong leaders who follow best practice governance to run effective meetings, you still must strive to engage or increase your engagement levels from time to time. So let's talk about some strategies that may assist your organization. Ensure you have a clear vision, mission, and strategic priorities. Involve directors and staff to participate in a strategic planning session. When they participate in the process to develop a strategic plan, they will be more apt to believe in the mission and strive to advance the strategic priorities of the organization. Your strategic plan should be a living document, and it should be used to drive decision-making at the board level. Reference it, review it, and update your strategic plan often. Foundational documents like your bylaws or constitution, your articles of incorporation, and the policies and procedures that you have in place should be used and referenced often. Keep this important information and these documents in a board manual. A board manual should be given to all board members when they join the organization. A template for developing a board orientation manual is available on our industry leadership website, and the link is provided at the end of the webinar. Another strategy is really to have defined roles and responsibilities. Position descriptions for executive positions and committees should be in place. Templates are available on our website. Have clear expectations. Tell board members how many meetings are held in a year and how much they must attend to be in good standing. Outline how many committees they must participate on and be transparent about expectations of the board. If board members are joining the organization, have them sign a confidentiality agreement, a code of conduct form, a conflict of interest form, and talk about them and update them annually. Align skills and expertise with the tasks and the committee work that you are assigning individuals to. We need to make sure that their experience on the board is relevant and meaningful and tailored to ensure that a board member is in a win-win situation with the organization. Strategy 4 is to develop a board orientation process. Provide a board manual to all new board members. It should contain foundational documents, the strategic plan, a copy of some minutes, reports, a list of executive, or consider mentorship opportunities. Pair new and experienced board members. This provides an opportunity for others to provide leadership within the organization and be a positive role model to inspire new board members. Welcome new board members. You can do this by circulating their bio, using name tags at meetings, making formal introductions. We want people to feel as if they are part of the team from the start. Emotional connections are important to engage individuals from the onset. If you are an extrovert board member, your interests may be very different than that of an introvert. Sometimes what excites one person will turn another off. So determine what interests your board member and ensure that's considered. And finally, cultivate talent. Like producers work the land to prepare the seedbed, an organization must cultivate and prepare individuals in the organization. It starts with recruiting the right individuals, providing mentorship, providing the right tools so people understand their role and the expectation of the organization. These strategies will help organizations build long-term relationships with directors. Remember that these new recruits could be your successor or the next board chair. Invest in developing a comprehensive orientation process. There is a recorded webinar on developing an orientation process on our industry leadership website, and the link is provided at the end of this webinar. In some cases, organizations will use technology and tools to help engage board members, but technology tools do not work for all organizations. Some tech tips are to coordinate meetings. That might include using scheduling apps or electronic calendars. Some will enjoy electronic annual calendars of activities. That may help to keep organizations on track. The calendar outlines when to start recruiting directors, when forms need to be submitted annually, when board meetings or AGMs are typically held. If you would like templates, please just let us know. Others like to host meetings online. If your policies allow, you can use conference calls, Skype, or any online platform. Remember that in-person meetings are also important because they allow directors to build relationships and trust, but sometimes it's imperative that we utilize technology to host these online meetings to conduct our business. Circulate board packages electronically or post it to your directors only portion of the website prior to a meeting. Utilizing technology to make information easily accessible will help board members. Circulate minutes within 48 to 72 hours of the meeting in an electronic format, or post the minutes to your secure designated section on your website that only directors can access. And have an online presence. This can include keeping your website up to date or by being active on social media. But remember to keep your social media presence professional. All messaging reflects the organization. And finally, celebrate your organizational achievements and recognize board members often for their dedication, their commitment, and their contributions. Thank them for attending meetings and acknowledge their participation on a regular basis. Tailor your recognition to the recipient to suitably honor their contributions and their achievements. Board members join the organization because they are passionate about the cause. They have knowledge or skills to share, and people like to surround themselves with other like-minded individuals to build new relationships and expand their network. Keep board members engaged by ensuring their experience is positive, and that does include having fun. In summary, remember that people are your number one asset. Implement a board engagement strategy. Utilize a board member's time and skills effectively. Be open to change and new ideas within your organization, and develop a board orientation process. Utilize technology to keep your board members engaged, and remember that board engagement has a direct link to organizational performance. Stay connected with us. Please send questions to leadership@gov.mb.ca. or visit our industry leadership webpage at www.gov.mb.ca/agriculture and click on Industry Leadership. On our Industry Leadership webpage, there are a number of fact sheets, templates, and guidebooks about starting an organization, board operations, developing a strategic plan, being a board member, or dissolving an organization. Please join the conversation with Manitoba Agriculture and Resource Development. Subscribe to our newsletter, visit our website, call our general inquiries number, view our YouTube videos, or follow us on Twitter. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us for this board engagement webinar.